Welcome to the Wild and Scenic stretch of the Rogue River, a 34-mile wilderness waterway containing breathtaking wildlife, spectacular scenery, and exhilarating whitewater. In order to help you have the best trip possible, we would like to share some information designed to make your float safe and memorable, while also instructing you on how to preserve the wilderness experience for all boaters after you to enjoy. Boating on the Rogue River, just like other outdoor activities, includes risk, but you can reduce this risk by wearing a life jacket and ensuring you are properly prepared. All float trips begin at a boat ramp, and it is here that it is advisable for someone in your party to give a safety talk before launching. During this orientation, you can detail life jackets, self-rescue, high siding, throw bags, strainers, swimming, etc. Bringing the appropriate safety gear and knowing how to use it is essential. The state of Oregon has a law that requires boaters to wear properly fitted, U.S. Coast Guard approved Type 1, 3, or 5 personal flotation devices while in Class 3 or higher whitewater, and for each boat to be equipped with a sound-producing device, like a whistle. Children that are 12 and under must wear their personal flotation devices at all times while on the water. Check your PFD to be sure it's completely buckled and cinched down tight enough so it cannot be pulled above your head. It is also recommended that all passengers wear helmets in rapids when going through whitewater Class 3 or higher. Be aware of what the current water level is, and know that extreme low flows can be just as dangerous as high flows. BLM rangers post water levels daily inside the Smullin Visitor Center, so make sure you know before you go. And always be on the lookout for unexpected hazards, such as trees, root wads, and branches in the river, or landslides and wildfires on the shore. Scouting is recommended for tougher rapids, such as Rainy Falls, Upper Black Bar, and Blossom Bar, which are also rapids that passengers can walk around. Blossom Bar is considered the most challenging rapid on the Wild and Scenic stretch. It is essential for boaters to have the necessary skills to run a technical Class 4 rapid such as Blossom Bar, and understand how to read whitewater. At usual summer flows, there is a must-make move through a narrow chute that is made to avoid sieves in the rock pile called the picket fence, located on river left at the top of the rapid. After boaters maneuver around the picket fence, the ride isn't over yet, as they will still have to navigate around a series of boulders scattered throughout the river. Scouting is advised for all boaters, even if you know the line and have run Blossom before, as there is always the potential that a past boating accident could have left gear wrapped on a rock or sticking out into the channel. Also remember, passengers can walk around Blossom, which will lighten the boat's load and make it easier for the rower. By undertaking a trip down the Rogue, you become part of the river community, and the best way to enhance your experience and the experiences of others is by contributing to the positive atmosphere of that community. Your journey and river etiquette both begin at the boat ramp, where we ask you to please be courteous to all other users at the launch site. Also, please use staging areas next to boat ramps to prepare or de-rig your boats and gear or set up lunch. This will leave the actual ramp area clear for other vehicles and trailers to access the river. When you'd like to pass another group on the river, do so only in flat water and never in rapids. Crowding other crafts in whitewater is poor etiquette and can create unnecessary boating mishaps. The Rogue is a popular place for fishing, so please be considerate of fishing lines from both the bank and boat anglers. Give them a wide berth if possible to avoid their lines. With an unpredictable combination of trip length and number of launches, your river experience may feel crowded or remote. This is especially true at camp. During peak times in the season, the competition for campsites can increase. But the more boaters cooperate with each other, the greater the sense of river community, and a more pleasant experience for everyone. If you are a small group of 9 people or less, and you choose to camp at a large campsite, please use only one side of the site, and be courteous to other groups that may need to share the area. In return, if a group allows you to share their site, please be appreciative of their generosity and treat them with respect. Large groups of 10 people or more cannot fit into small campsites, so we ask that everyone tries to assist each other by using campsites that are suitable for your group size. If you would prefer a campsite with solitude, Keep an eye out on the banks and select one of the great smaller camp spots, many of which are unmarked in the float guide. Campfire regulations vary throughout the season, from fires being allowed, to charcoal with gas stoves being the only means of cooking permitted, to no fires allowed at all. Come prepared knowing that fire restrictions can change without much advance notice. When campfires are allowed, all open fires within 400 feet of the river's edge must be contained in a fire pan. Building a fire without a fire pan scars the earth and makes it very evident that another group is camped there. When certain fire restrictions come into place, each group must have a bucket of at least a gallon in volume, along with a shovel. The intended use of these tools is to aid in putting out a fire that may accidentally start in your camp, or if your group comes across a small fire along the bank of the river that you may be able to put out or help slow down. Fire restrictions are important to follow because once a fire starts in the Rogue River Canyon, the practicality of fire personnel accessing the steep terrain within the river corridor is very difficult. Boaters that float the Rogue have been exceptional with following the restrictions. No known major wildfires in the Wild Rogue River corridor have started from a campfire, so let's do what we can to keep it that way. Please remember that all ashes, charcoal, and unburned fire debris must be packed out. Leaving these items at camp or dumping them in the river is aesthetically unpleasing and against the principles of Leave No Trace, which aims to keep the Rogue Canyon a wild and pristine experience. Now, for everyone's favorite subject, the scoop on poop. Each and every group that launches down the wild section is required to carry an approved container with the adequate amount of space to haul out all the human waste for the entire group. No one wants to see nasty toilet paper gardens. They're not only an eyesore, but also a health hazard. When you arrive at camp for the evening, please have your toilet set up within 30 minutes, unless you end up at a campsite with a government toilet. You'll receive a portable toilet guide handout when you check in for your permit that lists what sites have government-provided toilets. These are areas where you are not required to set up your own toilet. Acceptable toilet setup entails the toilet being out of the boat, away from the central camp area, and accessible for everyone in the group. If your trip ends at Foster Bar, a scat machine is available for $1 per use. If you are using an approved bag system, you can dispose of it in the on-site dumpster. The banks of the Rogue River are rich in historic and prehistoric sites. Please view and enjoy these treasures while at the same time helping to preserve them. Never remove arrowheads, tin cans, bottles, or any artifacts. Vandalizing these sites in any way prevents others from discovering and appreciating the captivating story of the Rogue's history. During your trip down the Rogue, there is a good chance you will see a black bear. It is very important to never feed bears, or any kind of wildlife. This is for both the safety of the wildlife, as well as your own. Bears and other critters will generally stay away from your camp if you keep it clean. The BLM and Forest Service set up electric bear fences at a few of the campsites during the regulated use season. Use these fenced-in areas to help protect your food, gear, and garbage from bears. Please remember to keep food and trash contained in closed coolers or dry boxes to prevent small critters from getting to it as well. Smaller, portable electric bear fences are available to borrow at Rand. Ask a ranger when you check in to get your permit for the availability of one. Before you leave your camp, make sure the bear fence is turned on and the gate is closed. This keeps the bears associating the fence with a shock and therefore continues to minimize bear encounters in camp. If an electric bear fence is not available, here are a few tips to bear-proofing your camp. Leave a small amount of ammonia in an open container on your coolers at night. Stack and strap your coolers and other food containers together to make a mountain of objects that would be difficult to get into or move. Place cans or pots and pans on top of your stack of containers as noisemakers. Leave a light on in camp or on top of the coolers and food containers overnight. Suspend your garbage and food in a tree, or bring your own bear-proof container. You'll receive a bear observation form when you check in to get your permit. Please fill this out even if you don't see any bears. The form can be dropped off in a drop box at the Foster Bar takeout or mailed to the Forest Service. If you observe any unsafe bear practices, such as boaters feeding bears, please let the Forest Service or BLM know as soon as you can. The Rogue is a dog-friendly river, And by following a few simple guidelines, man's best friends will remain welcome. There are several ways to help reduce doggy impact on the wild character of the Rogue River, such as being sure your pooch is invited before it approaches other visitors or dogs, and by treating your dog's feces as you would with human waste, by packing it out. Another thought to consider is your dog's safety, and we highly recommend equipping him or her with a personal flotation device. Whatever your reason for boating down the Rogue, it's not hard to fall in love with this place. It is because of this love that we, as part of the boating community, must do our part to protect the river, practice safety, and respect one another. By doing this, we can ensure an enjoyable experience for all rivergoers today, as well as preserve the sanctity of the Wild Rogue for generations to come.